again, everyone, and welcome inside another edition of the Adam Jones podcast from the Baltimore Banner. I'm Jerry Coleman, a little bandaged up if you're watching on YouTube, coming off a little surgery. Stay out of the sun, folks, or at least apply sunscreen is my message there. He's the five-time MLB All-Star back in the United States. He's been here for a while. We see the rolling of the eyes. He can't wait to leave the country. Or no, he loves America, just like all of us. He is Adam Jones, and we're back after our first week off in 2023. Coming up in episode 38, AJ, we're going to be joined by the Orioles' newest prize prospect. His name is Jordan Westburg. They keep coming up from the minor leagues. Westburg's been in the majors for about a month and already making his mark. Also, we're going to talk about Adam's recent trip. It's been over a week, but we haven't been together since his trip to the All-Star game in Seattle. That includes the celebrity softball All-Star game as well, where he got mixed reviews. We'll also talk about the fast-approaching MLB trade deadline. Will the Orioles be active? We know the rest of the division probably will be, at least the contenders. And also, we are going to talk about mic'd-up players. And my disdain for that, Adam will love it. And we'll discuss the Orioles' upcoming schedule. It's about to get a little bit tougher as we enter the second half of the season, although the second half of the season began before the All-Star break, essentially. But we begin with our featured guest getting a taste of that big league life. He is Jordan Westburg, selected number 30 overall by the Orioles back in 2020 out of Mississippi State. He's representing his alma mater here on the Adam Jones podcast. Jordan, appreciate you taking the time here mid-season. Let's talk about where you've been. I mean, you've been at second base. You started at shortstop. You played a little third base. Do you just go where they tell you to go? I'm sure the answer is yes. But inside, do you have a preference where you want to play? And I know Gunnar Henderson's playing shortstop right now.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I just go where I'm in the lineup. But I think coming up, I really wanted to play shortstop. You kind of have that a little bit of pride, maybe like, oh, I was drafted as a shortstop. I want to stick there as long as possible. But the reality hits you pretty quick that this is a talented farm. There's a lot of good young infielders and veterans now here at the big league club. And wherever you can fit is where you're going to have to get comfortable. And I'm okay with that role now.
Jordan, pleasure to meet you, brother. Big fan of yours. I got drafted as a shortstop. 2 years into it, I got switched to center field. It is what it is. It turned into a blessing in disguise. When you're moving around every single position, how do you maintain the level of concentration? Because it's not easy to play. It's not easy to do this in the big leagues. In the minor leagues, okay, you can make mistakes down there. In the big leagues, it's a result-based industry. How is it playing, again, you don't know where you're playing. You know you're going to hit, but going into I don't know where I'm going to play today. That's a tough thing mentally.
It can be, yeah. Honestly, I think that just bouncing around helps my concentration a little bit because I got to make sure I'm putting in the work and I'm getting my preparation done beforehand. I think that if I were to play the same position every day, things could get maybe a little bit tedious and, you're working on the same thing over and over and over again. For me, I think bouncing around helps my concentration. It makes me focus that much more, makes me have that drive of, okay, this is something that's difficult. And I don't want to mess up when that ball gets hit my way or if the play's coming my way. So how am I going to prepare in a way that's focused, that's intentional before the game so that when the ball does come my way, I have that utmost confidence that I'm going to make this play.
I like that. So far, what's been your favorite stadium? Because I know you've been there a little bit, but your favorite stadium so far?
It's hard to beat Camden on these Friday, Saturday nights. I'm gonna be honest. That during the national anthem, gives you chills down your spine. I got to play in the Bronx a couple weeks ago, which was cool.
Best food, best clubhouse food in the game right there.
Best clubhouse that I've been to so far. AC in the dugout, which is next.
That streams from the top and right on your neck.
Insane. But Minneapolis was a really cool stadium. Just the backdrop, the ballpark is pretty unique with like that high right field like box that juts out. You got the berms and kind of like the center field area, the high green wall. Those two I feel like are going to be pretty hard to beat. I'd like to go to Fenway and Wrigley. Like those are like, the peak of baseball history and legacy. But I feel pretty spoiled going to Minneapolis and New York so far.
Did Hicks take you to dinner at 7 in Minnesota?
No, we went to a Butcher's Tail as a team, which was unbelievable.
I know, that's good.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you guys didn't go to 7. 7 can get you a little bit of trouble.
Well, he said as a team. Is the team going out collectively for meals, or is it just groups?
I mean, that was my, it was like my second week in the show. And I was talking with Gunnar, and Gunnar said that like most day games, like if we've got time down on the road, like Frage or some of the older guys, McCann, Gibby will set up like a team dinner. That's kind of what happened. I think Frazier set up a team dinner at Butcher's Tail. I think he had been there a few times before. It didn't disappoint. A lot of fun. It makes me as like a rookie feel included. I get to spend some time around those guys and talk to them in a non-baseball setting, which is always cool.
Did you guys do that, Adam? That's refreshing to hear about this year's version.
Yeah, we did that for sure. You have to do that. You have to have that camaraderie, and baseball for a sense has lost that in a way. You guys, I mean, it's easier for you guys now because you all got drafted together. You all are coming up to the minor leagues together. You all friends together, which is really cool. My team was more free agent trade. So it's like we knew each other on the big league level. We didn't know each other on the growing up level. So we got to know each other really quickly. Obviously, that's why spring training is so important. But yeah, you have to have that camaraderie. If you don't, you need that during the field. You need that on the field. You don't realize how being friends off of it can make everyone just that much better.
Yeah, you got some guys on the team that you're pretty familiar with, including Colton Cowser going back to the minor leagues. How many of these guys did you play with down at the minor league level that now you've, become acclimated at the major league level with?
I mean, Cowser and Gunnar, I spent the majority of my minor league time with. Adley, a little bit of time here and there. Mountie, only when he was rehabbing. And then I've been fortunate to be at 2 different spring trainings and be around guys like Cedric, like Tony, Hayes, and just feel like when I entered that clubhouse, there was a little bit of comfort knowing, okay, these guys know who I am. I know who they are. We've chatted maybe here or there. Like it's not this complete awkwardness, this complete like disconnect feeling like, oh, I'm going to come in here and kind of mess up this clubhouse. Maybe I felt like they welcomed me with open arms, which was nice just because we had known each other beforehand. But yeah, like you said, coming up with Gunnar and Cowser is special. Gunnar's a heck of a player, and he's 21 years old, 22 years old. It's insane. Cowser, just a goofball. We kind of feed off each other. I think we have kind of opposite personalities, but we work well together. I think we keep it light. It's always fun playing with those guys.
We've got more ahead with Orioles infielder Jordan Westburg here on the Adam Jones podcast. But first, we want to tell you about a live podcast coming up next week at Baltimore Soundstage and hear from our loyal sponsors.
The Adam Jones Podcast with Adam Jones and Jerry Coleman will be live, and you can be part of the audience and meet Adam for the first time since he played for the O's. It all goes down on Thursday, July 27th at 8 p.m. Doors open at 7, and tickets are limited but now on sale. Go to BaltimoreSoundstage.com or Ticketmaster.com or call 410-244-0057 to be a part of the action. This will be the first time Adam and Jerry have done the podcast in the same spot, and who knows, maybe the last. So don't miss this unique night. The Adam Jones Podcast, live at Soundstage July 27th. See you there. By our good friends at the Weinman Company. By Hollywood Casino Perryville. For some, it's a game of chance, but for you, it's a game of choice. Hollywood and Barstool are bringing you more ways to bet in Maryland. Catch all the action in person at Hollywood Casino Perryville at the Barstool Sportsbook, or bet online with the Barstool Sportsbook app. When you download the Barstool Sportsbook app, register, and wager, you can get up to $1,000 bonus cash, plus up to $1,000 when you sign up and wager in person at Hollywood Casino Perryville. Play from anywhere and get up to $2,000. The choice is yours. Must be in the state of Maryland to wager and over 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. By Jack Daniels, 2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke, the #1 cocktail in the world, is now available in a can. Yes, that's true. Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey, mixed with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, are now both available in a can. 2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke, ready to drink? Please drink responsibly. Whiskey Specialty, 7% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey, Lynchburg, Tennessee. By G-Leaf, medical cannabis only. Visit gleaf.com. Medical cannabis is for qualified Maryland patients only. The Adam Jones Podcast is brought to you by Royal Farms. Download the Royal Farms app from the Apple App Store or Google Play today. New Royal Farms Rewards members will get a free any-size cup of Royal Farms award-winning coffee just for signing up.
Sure smells like Royal Farms fried chicken.
Best fast food fried chicken in America. You ever try it? Hey, you hungry? Royal Farms world famous chicken. If you haven't tried it, you don't know what you're missing.
And a reminder, if you guys are enjoying this podcast, make sure to check out the Baltimore Banner at thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ to get started. Again, that's thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ to get 6 months of unlimited digital access for only $1.
We continue our conversation with Orioles infielder Jordan Westburg here on the Adam Jones Podcast.
Obviously, you tore up the minor leagues, you tore up college. Big leagues are hard. Big leagues are way more difficult than any level. What do you think the toughest part of the big leagues have been so far?
I think the boring and obvious answer is going to be the talent level. Obviously, it's a huge jump, but I would like to get your opinion on this too. I'm sure I'm not the only guy feeling this, but
Yeah,
like the stress level, the intensity of these games, they're different. You know, you can play in extra inning games and tough games all you want in the minors. You can stress, the minor leagues is about winning, but it's different when you get up here. Like, you wake up after some of these late games, after these like grueling, grinded out wins, and your body feels like you got hit by a train, whether it's like that extra adrenaline or, like I said, the stress of like, man, every pitch counts up here. Every at bat matters. Like, I think that's the biggest jump for me is like, hey, you know, my body's going to feel more tired after one game than it did in the minors. How am I going to adjust in my preparation and my recovery? It's different. You know, I don't know if you felt the same way, if it took you a little bit of time, but I think it's an adjustment period for me so far.
big time. I learned that you have to take care of yourself, but at the same time, you have to give yourself every single day to the major league team. When you're in the minors, I said, we saw this earlier, when you're in the minors, you play for 29 teams because anything can happen. I was traded. When you're in the big leagues, you play for what's across your chest, and you got to give it your all. The big leagues, they're tough. They're grueling. The mental aspect of it, it's a result based. Everything's based on results. In the minors, it's all about, development. There's no development in the big leagues. Coaches, people say, the big league coach. There are no coaches. That's the title of it. These guys are managers. They manage the situations. You're a major leaguer. You'll always be a major leaguer. So first off, always say, wake up like I'm a major leaguer, no matter what. But then you also got to go out and do it. And every single day, people have had great stretches. People have been rookie of the years. You want that career, not just, I had a good blip. I got to the major leagues. I did this. Nah, it's a grueling thing. And I tell them, you had a good year. Okay, do it again. And then you got to do it again and again and again. Because now, like Adley, Hayes, Bautista, Cano, they're all-stars now. Got to do it again. When Mullins made the all-star team a couple years ago, you got to do it again. You got to do it again. That's the hardest, most mental part is, yesterday was great. This ain't football. You don't have a whole week to talk about it. I had 3 for 4 yesterday. So I'm facing a new pitcher tonight. To be able to turn this page like this, if you can do this, that's the easiest way to be a major league player. Turn the page. I had a bad game yesterday. I remember at 08, I was 0 for 4 strikeouts in Tampa. Our manager walked by me, Dave Trimley. He was like, still in it tomorrow. That boosted me. I was 22 years old, just struck out 4 times. Thinking, oh, man, I'm about to sit me. Out there the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Turn that page. Like, I had a bad game, had a bad at bat, swung at a bad pitch. So what? Grind. That's the major league, man.
Yep.
And that sort of leads to my point is that, you've made the show. Now the next step is staying in the show. What do you feel like you need to do to accomplish that and avoid being sent back down?
Yeah, right now I think it's for me. It's I'm putting a little bit too much pressure on myself. I feel like times. I've got the sense of every time I'm in that box, like I got to make something happen. I got to do something good. And that's unrealistic. A lot of times, what would help is just being focused on, all right, like what can I do to help my team here? I don't have to have a base hit. I don't have to maybe draw a walk all the time, or like I just got to move the ball, maybe move a runner, sacrifice myself, just move the ball, really put the ball in play. And for me, it's just doing that on a more consistent basis, I think, is what's going to help me stay here. I trust that my abilities are good enough to stick in this game. But being a rookie, being fresh up here, being able to control and kind of silence the that inner anxiety or pressure, I think, is what's going to help me stick.
I would say the biggest pressures are the ones you put on yourself. But again, you hit it on the head. Also, is that you don't need to do something every at bat. You don't moving the ball. I said the way the Orioles team is constructed is they can manufacture a run. I think better than most teams. You guys are athletic as all hell. All can run, can bunt. Don't ground into double plays like us. We were sluggers who grounded a lot of double plays. You guys maintain your innings because you guys have the athleticism. Keep that. Put the ball in play. Put pressure on this defense, because at the end of the day, defense is not as good in the major leagues as it was. If you put pressure on these defenses, they'll throw that ball right into the stands. Well, you can't throw it into the stands because they got a net, but they'll throw it into the net, and then you get the extra base. But the athleticism that you have, the Orioles right now, keep it. It's the most I've ever seen, and it's so fun to watch. But I want to ask you, I was a quirky guy. I did a few weird things that later in my career I realized that, damn, I did this like literally every day. What's your superstitions?
Dude, I'm not a superstitious guy. I'll even go so far to say, like, if I have a bad game, let's say, like, hypothetically, like I go over 3 punch outs, whatever, like just the worst you can have, 4 punch outs, whatever. I'll probably still use those same pair of batting gloves, the same bat, because I want to prove to myself, like, hey, it's not that. Like, it was an off day, so what? Like, today's a new day. Let's use this same stuff. And I don't know. For me, that's how my brain ticks. So I don't have a lot of superstitions. I mean, that could be quirky in the game of baseball, right? Because I saw you shaking your head. Majority guys are like, I'm throwing the pair of batting gloves out, like
Ripping them, throwing them in the stands after 2.
your skin on a bat, like completely fresh start. But yeah, I think that's probably. I mean, you can call it quirky, you can call it crazy, whatever. I'm gonna just try to keep grinding it out and try to, like, hope, man. I think this bat still got some hits in it. Like, we're gonna keep working,
I like that.
This kid doesn't need to walk around with a rabbit's foot in his pocket. He's got natural talent, Adam. Jordan, as far as the arrival inside the clubhouse, who's been like the biggest surprise as maybe a prankster inside that locker room, and maybe another personality that came out of nowhere that's kind of shocked you a little bit?
All the vets we have are pretty big. Like, I would say, I don't know, pranksters, but they like to keep it light.
Did they get you?
Excuse me?
Did they get you yet?
Not yet. No. McCann, Gibby kind of lead the way. Frage has a sneaky, like, dry sense of humor. I know it might not come off like it, but he can be a funny guy. We got Gunner a couple days ago. He had like a little meltdown, not a big one, but just kind of like slammed his helmet, and one of the umpires was like, "Hey, like, you can get fined for that. Like, let's be careful." And so Grant, one of our analytics guys, got with Manzo, the third base coach, and they wrote up an official sounding letter as a fine, made it like look official, read official, everything, like from the MLB office, and put it in his locker. And he gets it, and he's just pissed off, like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm getting fined for this. And then after the game, I think it was 2 days ago, after we clinched the series, McCann and Gibby are like, saying their post-game words, and they're like, and Gunner, like, way to not overreact about this fake fine or whatever. And Gunner's face is just like, like, what? Like, are you kidding me? You know, like the entire clubhouse was in on it. Everybody knew about it except for Gunnar. I think Hyde actually went up to the umpire who said something. It was like, hey, if Gunnar apologizes, just like play along with it. Like, so right now the clubhouse is pretty light. Helps that we're winning. It's fun. It's fun to be a part of.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I want to ask, well, before I let you go, this is my last one, is are you nervous about the rookie dress up? I know that there's rules that you can't do it and all, you get blah, blah, blah. We do it. We've done it many years. I mean, obviously, we've lessened it. You know, we can't, in Michael Gibbons, we had him as Serena. Can't do that anymore.
Got to be more PC.
Yeah, you got to be more PC. I put my boy as Mugatu one time, so that has made people feel better. But are you nervous? Because you got some vets on your team who's been through it that's going to have you dress up or something. So.
Oh, yeah. McCann told me about his rookie dress up when we were in Minneapolis. Because that was the place where he had it. And honestly, I didn't think too much of it until he mentioned it. And, that got me nervous a little bit. It got me sweating. They're going to come up with something good, I think, for me and Kaiser. So I'm not going to try to think about it too much. But, yeah, I'm nervous for sure.
How far back do you and Kaiser go?
So I met him for the first time at the Team USA trials after my sophomore season in college. He was a freshman at the time. I actually played him that year. Early in the year, we played in a tournament versus Sam Houston State, and cold, freezing game. He was playing third base, believe it or not. He wasn't an outfielder. He was playing third base. But, yeah, we kind of talked a good amount at the Team USA trials. I didn't make the team. He did, so that was kind of the end of that. And then I just kind of followed along. Like, we followed each other on social media, just followed from afar, kept in touch from afar. And then he got drafted, and I think I might have reached out to him and just said congratulations. I met him at the Instructs that following year. And then from there is kind of just like slowly getting more time during the season playing together. I started in AA, finished in AAA. He got called up to AAA at the end of the year. So we had about a month together there. We got more familiar with each other, really got to know each other. And then this past year in spring training, our relationship kind of took off, like spent a lot more time together. Our lockers were close by, definitely in similar shoes, you know, kind of trying to make the club, not really knowing if we had that opportunity, but knew like, you know, if not, we're going to be together in AAA. That's what happened. And then our lockers are right next to each other in AAA. Like I said, we're opposite personalities, kind of like a yin and yang. We just feed off each other. It was great. Spent a lot of time with him down there off the field as well, and couldn't have been more happy the way it turned out with us being kind of called up at the same time and being up here together. It's just good to have a guy like that who, you know, has your back. I've got his back. We're kind of riding out the whole bumpy starts or uncertainties, whatever comes with this opportunity. We're just kind of there for each other. It's been cool.
Well, hopefully many years to come in the major leagues. I do want to ask you in conclusion here, settle a debate, because this concept is older than you. It's called the wave. It's still around in Major League Baseball. I'm sick and tired of it. How do you feel about it as someone who's, 24 years old? I mean, the wave, I said in previous podcasts, has to be over 30 years old, and we're still doing it.
There's a good one in Camden the other night. Really good one. And, lasted – I want to say 2/3 of an inning. I think 2 outs went by before the wave finally died down. It was one of the more impressive things I've ever seen, in a ballpark. You get 40,000 people there. They're all bought in. We were winning at the time, so of course that makes it easier for fans to kind of get into the game. But yeah, all the way around the stadium, 2 or 3 different times.
Yes, Jerry's boring. When I come there in a couple weeks to watch y'all play, I'm gonna try and start the wave myself. When you see it going, it's beautiful to see.
Yeah, when they're tight and they're paying attention, at the exact time they're supposed to.
Jared be down, and he'd be the angry man sitting there like this. It's
I was doing it in the late '80s, Jordan. The early '90s, it was a lot of fun.
Still fun.
You're saying you're too cool for it now, is what I'm hearing.
I'm too old, I guess.
Yeah. No.
Definitely too cool for it.
Hey, Jordan, appreciate you taking the time,
you,
especially on a game day. best of luck to you the rest of the way. You got 2 fans of yours here in your corner here on the Adam Jones podcast, and look forward to having you back on at some point in the future. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was a blast.
Thank you, brother.
Westburg, flare, left side. It gets down, and Jordan Westburg has his first major league hit.
Adam, that was your first chance to speak with Jordan, along with mine. Made quite the impression. Very, very subdued and very focused on what he has to do. But what was your reaction to what he had to say?
I've spoke with a bunch of the Orioles prospects. Now they're major leaguers now. They all have the same hunger. I love that. They all want to get to the major leagues. They all want to impact the team. They want to obviously stay, but they all want to impact the team. And it's not selfishly how they want to impact. I need to hit third. I need to do this. They just whatever I can do. Whatever I can do. If I'm playing short, second, third, left, right, I don't care where I'm playing. Whatever I can do to help this team. And they have so much versatility. So it's really, really it's amazing to hear these kids are not selfish. They just want to play in the major leagues and do whatever they can to help that team win. That's fun. And the unfortunate part is that some of them might be playing for other teams in the major leagues, and that's great too. That's the best part about having a lot of prospects. Not everybody can play for your team. So I'm gonna be following all these guys for not just when they're in Baltimore, but if some of them are in other teams, because that hunger level is something that just can't be matched.
And they are a joy to watch, no doubt about it. Yeah. Time now to move forward in the podcast, our For the Bird segment, talking about the upcoming schedule for the Orioles here in the second half of the season. They took care of the Marlins. The Dodgers were in town. But as we speak right now, Adam, Orioles taking on the Rays in Tampa. Then they got the Phillies and the Yankees coming to town. I believe you may be at one of those games. Surprise, surprise. But some very, very big series just ahead for an Orioles team that is right on the Rays' heels all of a sudden.
I mean, you want to be a playoff team. This is the schedule you want. This is the schedule you're going to have to go through. This is the toughest time, but it's the best. You're going to have the dog days of August, and you're going to have a tough schedule while you're doing it. That's why playoff teams are playoff teams. You got to go through the big boys to get it. And again, the Rays right now and the Orioles neck and neck. You talk with the Yankees, they always have a mystique. You never know when Judge is coming back. Without Judge, they're not as good. That's clear as day. They're not that good.
But I anticipate they're going to be active, and maybe the Rays too.
For sure. But then you got the Phillies coming, who were the National League champions last year. So this is the test, because all those teams are going to get stronger. They're going to make moves themselves. So let's see what the Orioles do. Let's see if they can. If they are who we think they are. Let's do this. Let's go with the Dennis Green saying, "Are the Orioles who we think they are this year?" I say, yeah. I mean, they're not slowing down. They haven't. Whenever we think that this is not going, they pulled the game out, and then they won one point. They were on 8-game winning streak. And they're not just beating teams; they're hurting teams now. They're running away with games, and it's fun to see. And a friend texted me who we talked for years. He was like, I know no disrespect to the 12 through 16 era. This team might be better. And I'm like, bro, I can't deny that.
I do have to ask you about the needs. And we have talked about frontline starting pitching since the beginning of the season. If there's one flaw, and it's a minor one with this team, that's where I think they would be looking the most. But the question is, what's the cost going to be? You don't want to rent a guy for a half a season and give away a prize prospect. And please, no more suggestions about Shohei Ohtani coming to Baltimore. There's a less than 0% chance of that occurring.
Yeah, but I mean, it's sitting on the outside now, it's like, okay, the Orioles should do this and should do that. I'm going to switch it up and act like I'm the center fielder again. I trust my guys. I don't trust them. I don't know them. They're in another organization. I don't know them. I trust my guys. And I believe that Mullins, Santander, Rushman, the guys that have been there, they've been there, Hayes, I believe they're like, we don't need to go get somebody. I trust Dean. I trust Bradish. I trust Gibson. You know what I mean? Maybe we can add somebody, but I trust these guys. And then you get to the back of the bullpen, we all know what's going to happen. But again, it's always, you have to understand that when September comes and you're playing playoff teams only, the playoffs come, everything slows down. It's like the NBA playoffs. Everything just slows down. That fast break stuff, that don't work all the time. You need to show a half court offense. So there's going to be times where you need 6 out of the starter, and that's, so hopefully that's not a problem. But right now, I'm thinking of the line of like, okay, we could do something, but I'm trusting my guys right now because they're proving that they want the ball. And why give it to somebody else from a different organization with a different temperament and a different everything when I got a guy here who came up through the grapevine and is hungry with this organization?
Well, when we get to our live podcast, July 27th, the trade deadline will just be a few days away at the Baltimore Soundstage. We're going to have a few surprise guests to talk all about the possibility of the Orioles pulling the trigger. Mike Elias already made a savvy move in acquiring Aaron Hicks for virtually nothing.
Oh, what a great move. I mean, I know Hicks it was tough for him in New York. It's not easy to play in New York. It's not, no matter who you are. I talk to CC all the time about it. New York is a tough place. And hey, they still paying him. I told him to go to Live Golf. I said, forget it. Go play Live. You're good enough. But no, he's got a breath of fresh air. Baltimore, I mean, he's the veteran. He's the old guy now, which is him and Frazier, the old guy, and Gibson are just the old guys. And it's just a new leash on life and a new fresh start. And there's no pressure in Baltimore. No matter how they're winning, there's no pressure in Baltimore. The Yankees and the Phillies, the Mets, they're taking in Boston, they're taking all the national pressure away from the Orioles. And Hicks is going there and just doing what he did in Minnesota and doing what he did when he first got to New York. But the second you struggle in New York, they'll never let you let you down from it. And Baltimore, we'll pick you back up. I mean, we'll slam you again, but we'll pick you back up. New York, they just keep slamming you. They ain't no picking. They slam you, leg drop you. They ain't no picking back up there. But Baltimore, they'll pick you back up. And he's been great there. And talking to him and talking to other guys, he's been better for people inside the clubhouse than just on the field. So I'm glad he's there, a big help, a big brother to a lot of those young dudes who need to navigate themselves, through the big leagues.
Including our guest, Jordan Westburg. It's been a pleasure to watch Aaron Hicks be a part of all this. All right, let's move ahead and venture beyond Baltimore like Adam has for the last 11 months, but he'll be in town soon enough. And this is our first podcast since you were out in Seattle at the All-Star game and the Celebrity All-Star game. Let's briefly hear about this trip out to Seattle, where your professional baseball career at the major league level began, and some of the things that you took in during that obviously festive time for the sport of baseball.
Seattle was fantastic. They did a great job there, and Seattle needed it. If you know anything about Seattle in the last couple of years, they've taken a bomb to literally to the city, and they needed it. MLB did a great job of cleaning out the areas, but generating money for the city. I remember going there and all the security guards. They remember me walking around the city, people working, stores open. A lot of people from outside, different jerseys. Obviously, since it's All-Star Weekend, you see a lot of different jerseys. A lot of people flying in from all across the country, generating money for the Seattle economy. The Fanatics party, that was unbelievable. One day you want to go to these parties. I know.
Yeah, I do. Just the parties. I don't care about the game.
Yeah, the parties are where it's at. The Players Alliance party, that's the number one party to get. It's the hardest invite. But no, playing the softball game, I realized hitting the softball, it's a lot harder. I was 1 for 4 with a homer.
Started rough.
Started with 2 pop outs, and I got a text on my phone from I was wearing my Apple Watch, and my wife was like, but the kids say stop swinging so hard. You're embarrassing us. And I'm just sitting there, and I was mic'd up, and I'm just like in myself, I was just in embarrassment. And then I pitched the second inning, and I gave up like 9. And I'm like, they had to roll the inning for me. But to that, I said that. And people say, oh, you're not a good pitch. You're getting lit up. I was auditioning for a hitting coach job, letting people know that I can give confidence to a frog. So you see some of the hitters that got hits off me, they can't hit, but I was giving them confidence. And just like, if a team wants me as a hitting coach, I'm all about confidence, installing confidence in these guys. So that's my line when I think I had like a 9.99 ERA, because when you roll an inning, it shows you didn't get the out.
Dude, you don't want a hitting coach job. You would have to.
No, I mean, I would, if it was a main hitting coach job, I'm not doing what like these teams have like 7 hitting coaches and all these guys and somebody.
Yeah, but you would have to work actually every day.
Yeah, you know what I mean? If I can work every day with the top of the line guys, who wouldn't want to do that? that's a no-brainer. But no, everything else was great. I got to go to the HBCU game, see the top African Americans balling and getting play on such a beautiful field as Safeco is. It's one of the top fields in the league. You know, a lot of them kids only have one coach, don't have hitting coaches, pitching coaches, don't have enough balls. So for them to be able to have every resource at their hand, extra for the weekend was phenomenal. The Futures game, seeing Kerstad and Jackson Holiday, I got pictures with them.
That was a great picture of Kerstad and Holiday. And hopefully you mentioned to Heston that he hasn't been on the podcast, unlike Jackson Holiday.
I did. And those guys are hungry, though. Talking to them, like, you guys ready to go? And they both like, hell yeah. Like, there's no, like, passiveness to them. I got to meet the new draft picks because I'm involved with the Commissioner's Ambassador Program. So I got to meet the new draft picks. They hungry. And we're telling them the truth. In the suite with me, CeCe Guthrie, Ibanez, Granderson, I'm trying to think of other names. It's hard to think of other names. But just a bunch of old ex-vets that are, you know, trying to pass the knowledge down to the next level in the next generation. So it's pretty cool to be on this side of the fence, seeing these young guys go out there, flourish. And then obviously the home run derby. I didn't stay for the All-Star game. I left to go to Vegas to go hang out with my family. I didn't want to deal with SeaTac on Wednesday morning. I'm a very smart guy. But at the home run derby, getting out there early, talking to Rutschman, Bautista, Cano, and Hayes. I told Hayes how proud I am of him because he came up in my era. And, you know, just told him, breathe it in. Just breathe it all in. And it was a fantastic weekend. Seattle did it great. Now let's get it to Baltimore because Baltimore can be better. It's a lot easier to get to, okay? It's a lot easier to get to. But no, Seattle did a great job, and I think Baltimore could do a good job also. But we got 4 All-Stars this year. That's something to really, really be proud of. It's not happened often. And the most important thing I take away from this is that the Angelos has sent their jet for the guys. And these are all young guys who are not paying for jets themselves. You know, when I was young, I was paying for it myself. I didn't care. I had the money. These guys aren't in that ballpark yet. They will be soon. But the Angelos paid for the jet to get them out there. And that's a far-ass flight. So
I didn't realize that. That was a nice gesture by John.
Very nice gesture. I know that plane, as expensive flight. So salute to the Angelos for that.
You mentioned, you know, working for the commissioner's office. It wouldn't hurt to lean into Rob Manfred's ear and say, Baltimore All-Star game.
Yeah, that's a little bit out of my pay range. That's you got to talk to CeCe about that. I'm in the ambassadors program, I'm not the executive something. To go, if I was an executive,
talk to your peeps.
Yeah, but I'm gonna try. You know, Baltimore, they need the improvements, and I think that with you know, I know there's obviously the rumblings of with Governor Moore and the Angeloses of striking a deal. They need the improvements, and I think if they get the improvements in the next couple of years, I think 2026, 2027 is not out of the question because things happen quickly with the All-Star games in years. So 2026, 2027 with the improvements, you got to be an optimist.
All right, I'll just say this in conclusion in talking about the All-Star festivities. Didn't mind the players in the softball game being mic'd up, but the players in the Midsummer Classic being mic'd up again is complete nonsense. It's a big nothing burger. There's no insight. There's no inside information. All it is to me is a distraction, especially if you were perhaps wagering on the game, and they do allow that. All right, let's conclude things with another edition of Socially Speaking. This is where we answer a tweet, a post on Instagram or Facebook. You can find all 3 platforms at Adam Jones Pod, and you instantly qualify for a Miss Shirley's gift card. This week's correspondence, AJ, comes from Emmanuel Waters, courtesy of the Gram, known as Instagram to us adults. His question was, Adam, what's your favorite stadium to play in as a player?
Every stadium had its own uniqueness. You know what I mean? I always went to a road city like, okay, I know what's cool here. Obviously, Camden was home. I mean, again, the 3rd inning, boob smelling. That's iconic to me. But again, we were just in Seattle, and I loved Seattle center field because it was just wide open. They had a backdrop in their stadium. I can see the ball clear as day. Only day games was tough because of the sun. But it was an easy center field to play because it's like they can't beat me. It's cold up here. If they hit it real far, it's over the fence. If not, I'm going to catch it.
All right, we do want to thank our sponsors. And don't forget, coming up July 27th, we are live at the Baltimore Soundstage, one night only. We got a lot of free food. I may buy someone a drink or two, perhaps. And we're going to have some very, very special surprise guests. You may
You'll
not
pour
realize
somebody a drink.
I got
You'll
some Jack
pour-
and Coke over my shoulder for a guest. Don't
Maybe
worry.
you'll pour somebody a drink or hand them a drink that someone else made. Maybe.
Well, we got more details about that and a word from our dedicated sponsors.
The Adam Jones Podcast with Adam Jones and Jerry Coleman will be live, and you can be part of the audience and meet Adam for the first time since he played for the O's. It all goes down on Thursday, July 27th at 8 p.m. Doors open at 7, and tickets are limited but now on sale. Go to baltimoresoundstage.com or ticketmaster.com or call 410-244-0057 to be a part of the action. This will be the first time Adam and Jerry have done the podcast in the same spot, and who knows, maybe the last. So don't miss this unique night. The Adam Jones Podcast, live at Soundstage July 27th. See you there. By our good friends at the Weinman Company. By Hollywood Casino Perryville. For some, it's a game of chance, but for you, it's a game of choice. Hollywood and Barstool are bringing you more ways to bet in Maryland. Catch all the action in person at Hollywood Casino Perryville at the Barstool Sportsbook, or bet online with the Barstool Sportsbook app. When you download the Barstool Sportsbook app, register, and wager, you can get up to $1,000 bonus cash, plus up to $1,000 when you sign up and wager in person at Hollywood Casino Perryville. Play from anywhere and get up to $2,000. The choice is yours. Must be in the state of Maryland to wager and over 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER. By Jack Daniels, 2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke, the #1 cocktail in the world, is now available in a can. Yes, that's true. Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey, mixed with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, are now both available in a can. 2 legends, 1 can. Jack and Coke, ready to drink? Please drink responsibly. Whiskey Specialty, 7% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniels Tennessee Whiskey, Lynchburg, Tennessee. By G-Leaf, medical cannabis only. Visit gleaf.com. Medical cannabis is for qualified Maryland patients only. The Adam Jones Podcast is brought to you by Royal Farms. Download the Royal Farms app from the Apple App Store or Google Play today. New Royal Farms Rewards members will get a free any-size cup of Royal Farms award-winning coffee just for signing up.
Sure smells like Royal Farms fried chicken.
Best fast food fried chicken in America. You ever try it? Hey, you hungry? Royal Farms world famous chicken. If you haven't tried it, you don't know what you're missing.
And a reminder, if you guys are enjoying this podcast, make sure to check out the Baltimore Banner at thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ to get started. Again, that's thebaltimorebanner.com/AJ to get 6 months of unlimited digital access for only $1.
All right, we do want to give special thanks to our executive senior producer. He is trapped with Adam Jones today, or vice versa. His name is Chip Franklin. They're going out to play golf afterwards. We're going to hear all about it for the next 2 weeks, but we won't make it part of the podcast, I promise. Until next time, be kind, be real, and we'll see you at our live show July 27th, our next podcast live at Baltimore Soundstage. Be there.